as we start, my guest Alan Tink, who's here, he says if you want to spend the next 2 seconds or turn up the radio, go and get yourself a pen and paper, because you might want to take down a couple of details towards the end of this interview, because we're talking about the thorny issue of floor clauses, we're translating that, Clausula Suelo, and mortgage costs, setup costs.
Two separate issues, but yes,
okay.
Both very important.
Alan Tink is here, as I said. He's from the Tenerife International Business Centre. Now, 2 weeks ago, we talked to Janet Anscombe on the programme very briefly, because the Cabildo were holding a public meeting. They had just called a public meeting because European court rulings had come out about banks. But Alan, remind people again what we're talking about. There's two issues in particular.
Yeah, there is indeed. The Clausula Suelo that you touched on, obviously, is the floor and ceiling clauses within your mortgage document, your escritura, effectively. Basically, that is currently a live situation where people can actively make a reclaim based on the Supreme Court's ruling that you've mentioned. The mortgage reclaim situation, which is still ongoing and fluid, hasn't been 100%.
Oh, that's not been resolved yet. Okay,
it's not been resolved 100%. Although the Supreme Court has ruled that it's been abusive behaviour by the banks with hidden bank charges within, again, the escrituras and mortgage deeds that you've got. Effectively, a lot of people are getting very confused about the two different situations.
Can you actually be very basic for someone? Like, just say I've come to you and I have no idea what we're talking about.
Okay.
I don't even know what the Clausula Suelo is, but I've heard about it.
Okay. Well, in your escritura documentation, you will have an interest rate that the banks have set, with an increase in that interest rate at their convenience.
At their convenience, okay.
This has actually been ruled as an illegal move by the banks.
And this at European level has been ruled illegal. Okay.
And therefore, if you have a mortgage and that clause is in fact within that mortgage, you're effectively due back some money, and quite large volumes of it. We did a case the other day. It was quite a large mortgage, admittedly, but it was €32,000 that was due back.
Nice little windfall.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, we're talking about, just to be clear about this, about mortgages that were issued by Spanish banks.
Correct.
Within a time period, do we know when, or is there a wide envelope of time there?
This again is part of the fine tuning that's currently being discussed with the legal representatives of the Consumer Affairs Association, the banks, and this is the reason why in the meeting with the Consumer Affairs people a few weeks ago in La Laguna, they suggested a period of approximately 6 months before this is fully resolved and standardised across the board in all Spanish territories, in all Spanish legal situations. Can
I hold you back for a sec, Alan? So that was the Clausula Suelo. Basically, you took out a mortgage and the bank said you can't, that your interest rate will never go below X percent, even if the European levels drop.
Correct.
And they did.
They did, yeah.
And my reading of it was that the financial experts that the banks had working for them probably knew that they were going to. But that's a grey area. I'm not going to accuse anybody of everything. Right, explain to me again. I'm a complete layperson when it comes to this. What's the other thing? What are we talking about when we say hidden charges? What do you mean?
This falls under the arena of the mortgage reclaim side of things.
Okay, but what would a hidden charge be?
This again is part of the fine tuning and discussion that the legal side of the consumer rights organisations and the banks are fine tuning. So there is a definition going to be put around this. But effectively, there were clauses that were hidden within your escritura, within your title deed, that shouldn't have been there, hidden away and tucked away so you couldn't see them. Effectively, you wanted your property, you wanted your mortgage, but you weren't alerted to these hidden clauses. Those clauses were ruled by the Supreme Court as being abusive behaviour by the banks.
Right.
That's not my turn of phrase. That's the Supreme Court's turn of phrase. So therefore, a case was held in Spain a few weeks ago that actually came to a conclusion that, in fact, they were abusive behaviour. And from that stage, obviously, people started to talk about their own mortgages, their own situation, and it's escalated now into this huge, great situation where people are potentially in a situation where they due a lot of money back. Yeah.
I mean, I among thousands of people, I have a Spanish mortgage from a Spanish bank, and I have to admit, when I got my mortgage, I was just so thrilled that I had got a mortgage in Spain on my salary, that I just said, oh, well, this must be part of the way, it's part of the charges. This is the standard in Spain. And I signed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
as a foreigner.
You're not alone in that. Yeah, you're not alone in that. I think many people fell into that, or not fell into that, but were happy enough to have their property. They've got
delighted,
the mortgage to cover the costs. But with everything and anything, there's obviously from especially the bank side, it looks like it's been a bit shady behaviour, if you don't mind me saying.
I have to hold my hands up and say I signed my mortgage in Ireland as well without knowing what the ins and outs of it were, because finance is not my strong area. But you just assume that big banks and big lending houses are abiding by the law. Certain
banks were better than others, to be fair. I mean, I'll give Bank of Santander their due. The ceiling and floor clauses seem to be not within their contracts, but definitely with the likes of La Caixa, Sol Bank and Bank of March, predominantly they were the guilty parties, but other banks as well.
All right. How do you know if you're affected? People listening, how can do they know, yes, this affects me, or no?
Right. The best advice that I can give anybody is to actually speak to a professional rather than try and do it themselves, for two reasons. The Consumer Affairs organisation has suggested do these as group actions, not case by case, because no doubt the banks will try and find the grey area, argue the argument with you, and then you're going to need a lawyer, which is going to clearly cost you money.
Absolutely.
So they've revised bank by bank claims. So come to a professional organisation. We are one of many out there that can provide that service. Obviously we will give you the best advice we can. We collate all the information and ready for the green light given by the authorities to proceed with this case as and when they give us the green light.
So you're keeping an eye on what's happening at Cabildo level, and you're attending all these meetings.
Absolutely.
So you'll be ready to move. So you've said you're still waiting for some court decisions to be made on the hidden clauses issue.
It's fine-tuning more than anything. The actual law is in play. The Supreme Court has said that this is going to happen. It's, if I had to put a percentage on it, 98.9% there.
But it's
the fine-tuning. But it's the preparation now that clients need to do. If you feel that you've got a claim, even if you're 100% sure that you haven't, just let someone review your paperwork, because you never know. We're happy to do that for you.
Here's a question, because I know of more than one person who has done this. They signed a letter last year from their bank, because the bank contacted them and said, if you sign this letter now, giving up rights to any future claims, we will take off the floor clause and your mortgage will drop immediately. What's their situation?
Again, this is down to that tiny piece of negotiation that's currently happening between the banks, the legal side of this argument. I can't give you clarification on that,
because there was some indication from the Cabildo meeting, not from you guys, that this might also fall under the umbrella of abusive practice. But that has still to be determined.
I 100% agree with what you're saying there, but we can't with confidence say at the moment that is the case, because until we get actual confirmation from the authorities and the BOE posting of this as a complete situation, then we won't advocate that's actually 100% until it's 100%.
You're saying that it's not 100% yet, but do you think people should be looking for representation now?
Oh, absolutely. The 6-month clock is ticking, and it could be a case that timeline may be shorter. We ourselves as a company are dealing with an inundation, literally, of people coming through our door on a minute-by-minute basis, which we're happy to deal with. But get a professional police to look at it, not a barroom
not the lad next door says, no, I can do that.
Get professionals to look at it, and get professionals to actually review what you currently have. If all your paperwork is in order, at the point where the green light happens, you will be at the front of the wave when it comes to reimbursement, rather than possibly hundreds of thousands that will then start firing in their claims, and it could take years for that claim to be resolved. All
right. As you said, there are lots of different bodies out there. We're not favouring any one particular one, but you're here, so let people know how they can contact you if they need to, Alan.
Absolutely. We tried to be as open and honest with people as we can in regard to all the information provided from many sources. Please find us on Facebook if you're a Facebook user under Tenerife Mortgage Reclaims. You can find us on the TIBC website, which is www.tibc-sl.com.
Okay.
Or call us on 922 7302 and we're happy to help anybody.
And obviously, to be upfront, there will be a standard charge for clients and everything.
There is a charge both for the Clausula Suelo and the mortgage reclaim. In certain instances, you'll be eligible for both. In certain instances, you'll only be eligible for one side of it.
Can people have a free consultation if they contact you?
We'll happily review anybody's documentation. And obviously, if you've got a claim, we'll let you know. If you haven't got a claim, we'll let you know.
Okay. Brilliant. Alan Tink from the Tenerife International Business Centre. Please keep in touch with us and let us know when there are any changes or when we do have the 100% final word on the hidden clauses, because I think this is a story that's going to run and run.
It's continuing to run, and if you are on our Facebook page, it's daily updated with any information. So please join and like the group. It's Tenerife Mortgage Reclaims.
All right, Alan, thank you so much.